We are back with segment number 2 of the Cummins Real Estate Group show with myself, Curtis Pope, and of course the star of the show, Michele Cummins, because, well, her name's on the show, so we have to say she's the star of the show.
I have been trying to get your name in there.
I don't need to have my name in
Cummins
there.
Real Estate Group with Curtis Pope.
But then I'm going to want, percentage of, sales and stuff from the Cummins Real Estate Group.
We can work out a deal. I'm flexible.
Well, we have a special guest, and you are famous for your big, incredible introductions. So we should probably have you do one of those world-famous Michele Cummins introductions.
Okay, well, if you were on our show listening to the first segment, you know that Erin Fleury is here with me. Welcome, Erin.
Good morning. Thank you, guys.
And she is with Alpine Legal Services. And that's the surprise because nobody knew who or what you do before you came on the show. And I wanted to keep the element of surprise, as I love to do. So let me explain who Erin is and where she works. So Alpine Legal Services has been around for 3 years and are already the top-rated real estate firm in Chilliwack on Google and among the top-rated firms in the Fraser Valley. Now, I've been doing real estate for 19 years, and I have been introduced to Erin almost a year ago, maybe. It was within last year, actually. And what I've seen from you, okay, I can go on and on, but what I've seen from you, though, is I just have to say is you're very personable and you really do what it takes. We said that word earlier before the show this morning, is like, do what it takes. And you were like, that is such a good, I think you said word or motto to think of, and you do that for your clients. And so I've been blessed to have met you and get to know you. So they offer services not limited to real estate transactions, though, and or wills and states. They do that as well as mobile, virtual, and after-hour services. And from the beginning, I was really impressed with that, how you'll go where your client needs you, and that you do virtual services, even after COVID is no longer an emergency, which is really neat. They're a small, locally owned family firm where clients work directly with the lawyer on their files. For this not to be significantly costly, we have embraced technology to keep costs down, is what they have, what they say. So, and it's true. I have witnessed it, and my clients have witnessed it. So that is who Erin is. Alpine Services, who they are. And so, if you don't know them, Google them and get to know them. But okay, my first question for you, Erin, is what sets your firm apart?
Thank you, Michele. That was an amazing introduction. So yes, like you mentioned, we do try to embrace technology. For our firm too, like you mentioned, we have our clients working directly with us on their files. We offer the virtual services. We basically try to be as flexible as we can with clients to make sure, life happens. We want to be able to close those deals for clients where possible. We also minimize overhead costs, which is huge because that allows us to also compete with our pricing for clients, but also give them the quality and the legal advice that sometimes they do need on their files. So yes, we try to incorporate all of that, but the big thing is like keeping overhead costs down and also offering additional services to clients that they don't always get at other firms.
And what's really neat is you primarily do real estate law right now. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
But you did family law.
Yes, I was a family law lawyer for a few years before this. So I have that additional knowledge that I find helps too, because sometimes, people are going through a separation or divorce where they're selling. So that knowledge I have, I find helps. The other lawyer that's with our firm, who founded the firm, he has a lot of experience with working with a lot of development properties as well. So we both come with, I guess, a background that helps our clients out, regardless of what issues come up on their files.
Well, talk about issues. Okay, so the interest rates have been a big issue. I mean, There's been deals that haven't closed because the buyer has not been approved for their mortgage when it comes down to completion day. And there's been all sorts of issues around the interest rates going up so quickly and so much. So what are some of the issues that you've seen come up with those interest rate changes?
Yeah, so, I think what's common that has come up is people being approved on an interest rate and then the interest rate's changing before their completion date or before they can complete their deal. And now they can no longer complete it. It causes a lot of risk, not just for the buyer, but also the seller who's relying on that contract and the liability for the buyer. So we found that these issues can come up, and unfortunately, when these issues come up, they really need to have a team, and that means having a lawyer who can be flexible to close, especially if they have another, whether it's a private lender set up in the woodworks to jump in to make that deal happen. And a lot of firms will actually overbook clients, so they don't actually have the flexibility. They drop files, which we know happens because we get those files after they've been dropped from other places. So what we try to do is have a buffer with our files to make sure that, yes, we can complete. If things come up, we have the flexibility to make that happen, to make that deal close, but also to maintain the trust we have with our realtors, with our mortgage brokers, that they know when they're sending us a file that we will get it done.
And you work hand in hand with certain mortgage, I should say banks, is that correct?
Yes,
and their
we
mortgage
do. Yeah, we know a lot of lenders, private lenders as well, but bigger lenders. So we maintain those good relationships with them for our clients too.
Now, one thing we've talked a lot about here in the program in the last little while is the new regulations on foreign ownership. And I'm wondering, me and Michele have had theories about how people are going to get around it and things like that. Maybe we're a little pessimistic, but maybe we should get an actual legal perspective on the new rules when it comes to foreign ownership.
That's a good idea, Chris.
Well, I will preface everything with it is, of course, will be a case-by-case basis to see what happens, how it's applied. But yes, the theory behind it, or what the law will essentially do, is prevent foreign home buyers from buying a residential property commencing for this new year coming. Before they were just taxed heavily, but now they're actually going to be banned from buying property. To prevent a loophole where, you have a foreign home buyer coming in and trying to purchase property, they are now saying that subjects have to be removed before next year. So you can't have a loophole where they're buying property and the subjects are going to be removed next year or pending something that hasn't transpired yet to avoid liability. I think the big interesting thing will be what is defined as residential property, because I think they're coming out with a definition to declare what that will be. But does that mean vacant land? Does that mean, what does that mean for leasehold? Because even First Nations lands, they don't actually commonly fall underneath provincial legislation. It doesn't often apply to them, to First Nation lands. So what will be the impacts there will remain to be seen, but they will come with harsh penalties for people who are assisting foreign home buyers, knowing that they're foreign home buyers,
right,
even if it's indirect.
But now they could buy commercial property. That's my theory.
Yes. Well, I won't say yes right away directly, but we will, nobody wants to be that textbook example that clarifies what the laws are.
Right.
But, like you just mentioned, right, we don't know what's clearly defined yet or what it's going to encompass.
There's always a loophole. I'm a little pessimistic about these things, or I'm just have a keen grasp of a conspirating mind. I don't know. One or the other. Says something about my personality, I guess. What's the way around this?
You're not alone.
The other law that's changing along with that is about the relaxing of the strata restrictions with rental restriction and age restrictions. So what does that mean?
Yes, I think what we understand to be is that you can have an age restriction if it's 55 plus, but if it's not going to be 55 plus, it can't be anything else. I think the changes too also allow for caregivers of any age to be there to assist. So I think they're really aiming to also provide that assistance for people in these restricted strata units to have caregivers on site. Maybe we'll see an increase in the value of these stratas. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens with stratas that might have an age restriction of 30 or 19 plus, because what's going to happen there? Are they going to have a meeting where they decide, hey, let's get rid of it entirely? Probably more likely if they have a restriction on a 30 plus rather than maybe a restriction of a 45 plus, they just might bump it to 55 plus, but we'll have to wait and see.
And everybody who is in their homes would be grandfathered, correct? And any tenants?
Yes, that's correct. They are.
Yes. Okay.
So even though it might be retroactive, we'll see what happens there, but they are going to be grandfathering that in.
And what about people who have bought a home but they haven't completed on it yet in a restricted age or rental restriction, and they were investors wanting to rent it out?
Yeah, I think for those cases, it might be good to see on a case-by-case to see how this would apply. But
I wouldn't want to be the test case.
Again, no one wants to be the case book that everyone reads about on what not to do. But yeah, it will be interesting to see come the new year with all these changes.
There is, and there's changes being talked about regarding real estate and teams and, all of that. So there's a lot of changes coming up in the new year.
Yes. It'll be exciting. It'll be an exciting year for real estate.
So, okay, question. What is the most common mistake you see in contracts of purchase and sale?
Oh, that is a good question. I have to say, when things come up, it's hard to tell, like in the moment, to predict what's going to come up down the road. I always say it's good. We always are open for realtors to reach out to us if they have questions about contracts. I can't think of any. It's hard to say, like right off the bat, any particulars. I think really everyone's case can be so unique that you really want to rely on your realtor to know inside out what's going on for you to craft a contract that works for you. But also feel free to always reach out and get legal advice, because if issues come up on your contract down the road and it could have been prevented earlier, it's always good to try to, I guess, nip those issues in the bud so they don't impact your sale from completing.
And those that think they don't need that advice, you don't know what you don't know.
That is a really good saying. Yes, words to live by. You don't know what you don't know. So always reach out if you're unsure.
Thank you so much, Erin. Do you have any more questions?
I have so many questions, but I think we got the gist of them out.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to just mention the 2 new listings that I have coming, that just came out, right now. Available is this wonderful 6,000 square foot lot in a leasehold land in Roche, and it's a mobile home, and it's amazing fenced area. Last week I mentioned it is coming soon, but it is $100,000, and you've got a covered tall carport for either a van or boat or RV, and there's lots of parking. Again, private, big, large fenced yard, and it's a great price for it. So that's out in Roche. And then the other new listing is actually out in Maple Ridge. So it's in the Alpine area, and it's off 101 Avenue. And it's a almost 6,000 square foot lot, and it's 6 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, and it's got a suite. $1,699,000 for that. It was built in 2016, and it's a beautiful home. So you can go on my website or Google my name, and you'll find the home and the video and the walkthrough and the floor plan and all information, or just contact me if you want that. And then coming soon is a Woodside Inn. So it is, let's define it as commercial. So maybe next year a foreign buyer can buy it. Still, maybe.
Maybe.
But
we'll wait and see.
The Woodside Inn is actually up on Mount Woodside in Harrison Mills area. So it's literally a few minutes from Sandpiper Golf Course. Harrison River's right there. The boat launch is right there. Harrison Hot Springs, lakes, rivers, mountains, so many things to do. And it comes with a motel, like 4 units, as well as a 2-bedroom mobile that's connected to a storefront. And this could be anywhere, a restaurant, a bar, it can be really a storefront market, and anything you really want. There's a lot of things you can do within the commercial zoning of it. And then it's got future OCP highway commercial, and there is huge development happening all around it. Lots of homes being built, lots of residents moving up on Mount Woodside. So that's coming soon, and inquire within. Okay, I got a quote of the week, so end our show with it. So someone commented on our episode 203rd one on my YouTube channel and gave a positive word of encouragement, which will be our quote this week. And they said, "Successful entrepreneurs are givers and not takers of positive energy."
That is very true.
Isn't that nice?
That's very good. I like that a lot. All right, so if people want to look at your listings or see the stats or find out other things you have going on as a realtor, where can they go?
MichelleCummins.ca.
And join us again next week when we will talk real estate in order to unlock your real estate potential on a show where real estate is maximized. Thanks for listening.